Hey guys, Chase here, and do you remember when I ranked all the chapters in Celeste? Of course you don't. Well, we're doing it again. The different indie game off of Steam. Ori and the Blind Forest. Just bought this game recently and I've already played it extensively, and wow is this game good. If you haven't played it, it is a must play in every conceivable way. The level design is excellent, the Gareth Coker composed soundtrack is beautiful, the environments speak for themselves. It won Best Art Direction at the 2015 Game Awards and deserved it.
And the winner is Ori and the Blind Forest.
And like a million other reasons. But one of the things that stuck with me when playing this game for the first time was how diverse each area was from one another. Some areas were large and central, while others were small and tucked away. Some areas were insanely tall, while some were quite long. There were areas that were open-ended, filled with secrets, while others were linear obstacle courses. And finally, some areas were amazing, while others were the opposite of that. Obviously not every area was crafted equally, so I thought it would be fun to rank and review all the areas in this massive game. Now before anything else, we need to ask one very important question. What defines an area? That question is harder to answer than you might think. Is an area a spot that's distinctive from other parts of the game? Or is an area a place that's vital to the story? What about Kuro's Nest? You only go there once and never again, but does it count as its own area? You see what I'm saying? For this list specifically, if it's listed as its own area in the game's built-in map, it counts for the list. This excludes areas such as Kuro's Nest and your house because they aren't listed anywhere on the map. And areas with warp points that are technically a piece of another area don't count either, excluding Horu Fields and the Lost Grove. But with that being said, we have 11 areas to rank, so let's just get right into it. Oh boy, is this an interesting choice. When I found this area to be one of the worst in the game, I was shocked. But in the end, I saw the Valley of the Wind to be bland and boring compared to other areas. I mean, it has a large pit with updrafts later on, and it's got a snowy corner over here, and that's about it. And legally obligated to mention this sequence or the comments will roast me, but I didn't even find that impressive or noteworthy. Even the visuals or music are rather subpar here. This area, overall, just feels like an entrance to 4 other areas and nothing else. Oh boy is this area boring. Like, seriously. It's short, long, as part of a story sequence, and what else is there? Some slugs, a few secrets. The Stomp, okay, the Stomp is actually really fun to use, especially if you upgrade it, but what else? Oh, right. Honestly, I just found the swamp to be a glorified entrance to the Ginso tree. I only found the area to have just one great moment. Okay. So when you finish the Ginso tree, there's a tense moment where it looks like you die. But then your friends take care of you and you survive. Then you wake up in one of the most beautiful areas in the game, seeing the fruits of your labor take place. I don't think I've ever felt so immersed into a game's world and visual design. And I've played Breath of the Wild. So overall, the swamp's biggest strength is the music of all things, but the things that matter more, like level design, just aren't significant enough to warrant this area being higher up on the list, sadly. But it's better than the Valley of the Wind because at least it has some interesting parts. Alright, moving on to... I have a lot of similar problems with this area as the Valley of the Wind. It's kinda bland. But this area is ultimately better than that because the layout is more interesting and nothing compares to the absolute sense of wonder and exploration the area and music create together during your first playthrough. But once you've experienced some of the more impressive areas in the game, the Sunken Glades loses most of its appeal. especially when you upgrade your combat abilities and everything seemingly dies in one hit. I mean, once I found the spirit tree within the Hollow Grove, I almost never returned here, because your first time through it will show you most of it. This area is just like the valley, but with bonus points for being a great tutorial stage. Oh, look at that. We got another huge pit for an area. Granted, this area is much more interesting than that. I really like the calm, relaxing music and the lovely visuals, especially in the reddish purple parts. Also, the gameplay segment to gain the water vein is quite enjoyable, even with all the one-hit KOs. This is also where you obtain the double jump, one of the most fun abilities to use. But overall, I found the largest strength of the Moon Grotto to be the secrets. This area is full of them, several of which are very neatly designed. It even connects to the Blackroot Burrows, another secret heavy area. But even with all the things it has going for it, I found myself kinda getting bored whenever I revisited the grotto. You see, this area is great, but the level design isn't very impressive. It's very safe, carrying on several level design tropes from other video games, including crushers, wall jump climbing, etc. I just think that the other areas took more risks that paid off, deeming them more noteworthy. The Moon Grotto serves as a great place for secrets and the double jump, and nothing else really. Yes, here it is, the central area, with connections to 5 separate areas in itself. You got the one screen that is truly breathtaking, as well as the Charge Flame, one of the more fun abilities in the game. You got lots of secrets and some interesting level design. You got plenty of enemies to beat and shortcuts to open up. So if you couldn't already tell, I like this area. It's good. It's fun to go through, even if it's a little bland. Boy, I've noticed a pattern here. But while the area is generic, it makes more sense as this is the central area of the game, and one of the first to go through, having it work better. For being a central hub and step for the player, the Hollow Grove did that, and it did it very well. Here we have probably the most original area in the game with the most generic name. Seriously, what kind of a name is Misty Woods anyway? Well, there are definitely things I love and hate about the woods. You see, you initially enter the woods to find the Gumon Seal, an item that is required to beat the game. It's the execution that matters here. So the gimmick here is that you go around, grabbing keystones, going around the place, take some turns, and... crap. Now you have to go around and find a way to lift the mist. I really appreciate the emphasis on exploration and experimentation, but oh my word, these enemies are placed in some truly annoying spots. Just, please, leave me alone. I just want to nab the seal and book it out of here. Oh, and this is also where you learn the climb ability. And honestly, why would you need this? And why do you need to put a wave effect on everything? This just makes my head hurt. This is probably the only area in the game that I have mixed feelings towards, which is why it's dead center in my list. Alright, here we are at the top 5 areas in Ori. I just briefly wanted to give a quick disclaimer that I have roughly twice as many things to say about these areas compared to all the others. Alright, moving on. This is where the areas start getting pretty stinking good. This is also the only area exclusive to the Definitive Edition, so if you didn't shell out 20 bucks to get an orange title screen, I'm sorry. Anyways, going in, unskippable cutscene. This isn't off to a good start. Thankfully, after that misstep, the level gets much better as you enter a massive area where it's really, really dark, which just really shows off how amazing the lighting effects are in this game. You then jump around, find some light, and carry that light to a certain point to lift the darkness. It's only fitting that this is where you learn one of the area's abilities, the dash. One of the most fun and useful skills in the game, especially when you upgrade it. But then you need the stomp to explore the other half of the burrows. Bummer. Alright, second half. Not as memorable as the first until you learn the Light Burst. This skill gives Ori a projectile attack that can be bashed off of, and at the bottom of all this, you discover the Lost Grove. Wrapping the backstory in a neat little bow and discovering it for the first time is probably the most memorable moment of my first playthrough. Oh, and one more highlight, the music. Through the Darkness perfectly captures the calm ambience and anxiety of exploring a dark cave. Dash Through Their Home perfectly enforces the feeling of freedom and adventure. It's only fitting that this piece completely replaces Through the Darkness as the area's theme when you lift said darkness. And finally, a clearer understanding of the past is one of the most beautiful and atmospheric tracks in the game, amplifying the beauty of the Lost Grove. I personally feel like this area overall has the best music than any other area. For these reasons, the Blackroot Burrows earns number 5 on my ranking. A common theme you'll notice from here on out is that I think the level design peaks when it's much less open and it's just a linear obstacle course. You know, like certain other indie game. This happens 3 times throughout the game, one for each element, and here I've placed the course to restore the element of winds, the Forlorn Ruins. The entrance to this area resides within an icy plain, and oh boy is this area atmospheric. Heck, I'll say this area has the best atmosphere out of any area on this list. It captures the setting of a once lovely area being overrun with ice, giving off a spooky and depressing vibe to the whole thing. I think the area's theme, entitled Home of the Guman, perfectly captures the essence of the ruins, cold and isolated. Well, the area sure has atmosphere, but it also has gameplay. Let's talk about level design. The area, in fact, has a gimmick, that being this shiny ball of light that must be carried around, and while you hold it, you can turn gravity 90 degrees. This idea isn't exactly original, but well delivered. It's not like the other areas where the gimmick falls to the wayside. No! The entire design of the place adapts to the use of this idea. But I have to dock points because whenever you turn gravity 90 degrees, your controls turn 90 degrees. Why? This doesn't enhance the gimmick at all and instead hurts it because it leads to cheap deaths. However, you can get used to it, like I did. And oh look! There's a life cell hidden in the corner. That's cool, right? Oh, and yes, I am legally obligated to talk about the escape sequence at the end. I didn't like it, it was annoying and unpredictable. Overall, the Forlorn Ruins is placed at number 4 on my list. Not bad, but still the worst obstacle course style area. Here we have another linear obstacle course, but this time the element to be restored is water, and the mechanic employed is teleportation. Yay! Okay, but for real, the Ginso tree is actually pretty solid. As previously stated, the gimmick employed is teleportation, and went with the age-old formula for introducing a concept. Well, introducing the concept, expanding on it, adding a twist, and then taking it to its limits. Real quick, the Forlorn Ruins did this too. I know I have to say it or I'll be screamed at. Alright. The level design is debatably the most unique on this list, as you climb a tower, putting an emphasis on vertical movement rather than horizontal in every other area. This design choice is complemented by the previously stated teleportation. However, even through all of this, I would say the highlight of the level is the ending. And oh goodness is this ending so stinking good. As you restore the element of water, the tree has a massive flood, and as the water rises, you must escape through the top of the tree. This reminds me of the rising lava stages in the modern Mario games, but this is way better than those stages because it's way more epic and you get to use the Bash ability. The best, most fun, and arguably the most useful ability in the game. And yes, when you obtain the ability halfway through, it employs the same introduction philosophy as the teleportation. It shows that you can bash off of certain points, then enemies, then projectiles, then you can deflect projectiles, then it's pushed to its limit in the ending. Man, is this area such a treat. Oh boy, I can only imagine how many people are going to disagree. I get it that the area is annoying and difficult, plus you need to save every 2 seconds because of it, but I found the Sorrow Pass to be really fun. Firstly, I really like the emphasis on wind in this area. Sure, that means the area is gated off for 3/4 of the game, but it's perfectly fine by me because the area is very well designed. Also, this is practically one of the few moments where you can actually use Kiro's Feather effectively. Like, what other uses does it have? Getting to the Misty Woods, a few secrets, that's it. Bummer. And again, just like the previously talked about Ginso Tree, there is extra attention placed on vertical movement here. I mean, it would be weird if it wasn't. The whole place is based around one giant updraft. This is also where you obtain the final ability in the game, the Charge Jump. Goodness! This ability is incredibly useful and, well, fun! It is so satisfying holding down a button to charge up and then BOOM! Even though the pass can be viewed as one of the hardest areas, going through it for the first time to nab yourself the Sunstone was such a treat. But even with how awesome the Sorrow Pass is, there's just one area that topped it. And you might have guessed what it is. Story time. I came up with the idea for this video midway through my first playthrough. And once I got far enough into Mount Horu, I knew that the final area just had to be number 1. This is the area where this moveset and this ability tree are put to good use. This is the area where your skill as a player is rewarded. This is the area that makes it worth trekking through some annoying quirks throughout the adventure. This is the area that the entire game was building up to. And oh boy did it deliver. Gee, where to start? I guess I'll start by talking about the level design, and oh is it a doozy! You have 8 different challenges placed into 2 different suites around one giant hub area that is yet again very vertically focused. Each of these challenges presents some useless geometry and a great challenge to boot. As stated before, the moveset built up to this point is put to good use here, same for the ability tree. Pro tip, go in with the triple jump upgrade and max out your Spirit Flame before entering. It helps. A lot. These 8 challenges each are their own thing as well. I mean, none of them blend into each other. And that is rare. I mean, you'll bash enemy projectiles back at them in mid-air, some speedrunning, some puzzles, among others. You must complete all 8 challenges to lower the lava at the bottom of the central area and complete the final challenge. You must run around from one end to another after restoring the element of warmth, having to constantly find cover from our apparent antagonist. I like this sequence a lot, and I have no problems calling it the best out of all of the escape sequences. I want to end off by talking about the visuals, and oh boy are they good! They're so bright with the vivid reds and oranges, yet it still looks very colorful and appealing, even with the limited color palette. Like, how do you do that? Well, I guess I'll end off this ranking by saying that Mount Horu is in the same league as, or maybe even better than anything in Celeste. That is high praise. Overall, Ori and the Blind Forest is an amazing experience worth every penny. I mean, it looks amazing, it sounds amazing, it plays amazing, it is amazing. I mean, everybody in Moon Studios deserves quadruple the pay for this one game. And yes, before you ask, I am excited about Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I will definitely make a video on that when it comes out.